All right, so I kind of seen some clips of Errol, Spence, and Tszyu, you know, sitting down, and this was, you know, obviously at their first press conference. There was something to be said about Errol Spence missing out on the press conference. They had like a virtual interview going on there. I believe they fight July 25th on pay-per-view in Australia. It's in Australia, on pay-per-view in Australia and in America. That's crazy. That this fight is on pay-per-view, which is ridiculous. And my Gucci man, it's hilarious. Very is ridiculous. But just seemed like Errol Spence is very dismissive of Tszyu. And it seemed like a lot of American fight fans just didn't like Tszyu. You know, a lot of fish, oh, he ain't this, he ain't that. I kind of remember Bomac said a few years ago before, you know, Errol Spence took this time off and said that, oh, Errol will fuck him up. Then he said he kind of don't know now with the time off. You know, and I've said this on multiple occasions, and I could be far off. I mean, I've been known to be wrong before. I don't really see no difference. So yeah, I mean, I was just, you know, sorry. Yeah, in my opinion, looking at it, just seemed like a lot of people in America don't have respect for Tszyu. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I don't see it a huge gap. I don't see it being a huge gap in between Tszyu and Errol Spence in skills, even prime for prime. I just don't really see it being this huge gap. You know, and you know, that's just my opinion. And I've said this before. I don't think Errol Spence can do what Tszyu was doing against Fondora before his head hit Fondora elbow. So that's my opinion on it. I don't think Errol Spence had that type of skill set, and I know styles make fights, but it seems that Errol Spence is very dismissive, as many Americans are with Tszyu. Very dismissive. You see Tszyu, you know, drop and dominate Terrell Gausha, and Terrell Gausha had really upset that prospect, I think from Arizona, Phoenix, I forget his name, and they robbed him. I mean, Terrell Gausha is a tough out. You know, you seen, you know, he was beating up on Fondora before the cut and all that type of stuff. Tszyu is a good fighter. You know, got pop in both hands. You know, he kind of remind you of the right-handed or the right-handed Errol Spence. To be honest, they not too far apart, man. Errol Spence just falls down. Errol Spence just falls down to 147 pounds, so he can be a little bit bigger than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But it just seemed like there ain't no, you know, ain't no respect. You know, ain't no respect from, ain't no respect. You know, ain't no respect for Errol Spence, man. I mean, for Tszyu. And even if Tszyu was to go on and be victorious in this fight versus Errol Spence, people gonna say Errol Spence was washed up. You know? So, you know, that was like an American fight, like Errol Spence went through what Tszyu went through with Sebastian Fondora. You know, had he went through what he went through with Fondora, you know, they would have been saying, oh, that elbow, they'd have making excuses. So, like I said before, I don't really see it being a big separation of skill, prime for prime. You know, and that's my opinion on it. But Errol Spence seemed to be very dismissive of Tszyu. You know, he seemed to just think, oh, this ain't really no challenge. This ain't really, whoa, what is going on, bro? You don't know how to regulate your speed, bro? I be telling y'all, man, they just get anybody a driver's license, bro. That's some real shit, man. Anybody can get a driver's license out here. It's just the way they ride and they fucking brakes. But yeah, man, like, Jesus Christ, bro. It's like people can't regulate their speed, bro. Like, you can control your distance without hitting your brakes. Just old white people, man. Hate driving out here. Can't none of the people drive. Like, you got the Asians, they kind of gonna be slow. I ain't tripping on that. But it's like people can't, like, Just hit cruise control then. If you can't keep your foot on the gas pedal, bro, and where you don't have to keep hitting your fucking brake every 5 seconds, stop riding people's ass. So tired. I just tired of the way they drive, bro. But yeah, you know, yeah, it just seemed like he kind of just dismissive of him and all this stuff. And to me, he was never that good to be dismissive of anybody, to be honest. So, you know, a lot of people have seen, you know, the highlights of him. You know, a lot of people seen the highlights of him. You know, a lot of people seen the highlights of him. You know, looking bad while training. I mean, he was never a training warrior, bro. He never was, you know, look super good. Sometimes people thought he looked a little bit faster. That kind of come with youth and, you know, but to be honest, just seemed like he real dismissive and real arrogant of Tszyu. And, you know, I don't think none of these PBC fighters, you know, can be arrogant or dismissive of any of their opponents. It's just my opinion. I don't think any of them can be dismissive. You've been gone for 3 years, bro. You know? Literally, you've been gone for 3 years. You can't afford to be dismissive. You can't afford to be arrogant. You can't afford to be cocky. You can't afford to be none of those things. It's just my opinion on it. And I heard Coach Malachi said he had 1 foot in and 1 foot out during his fight. And I said before, you know, Ronnie Shields is saying, oh, he gonna be better. And like, can you trust a motherfucker that basically said he took a dive? He basically took a dive in his last fight. Oh, I knew I was gonna lose. And I'm like, nigga, please. I just did it for the money. And who in their right mind is gonna go spend money with Errol Spence after he said that? Legitimately, who is gonna want to spend their hard-earned money and on top of that, your time, where you can't get that time back, and pay for it with your attention and do what? And do what? And do what? So, and watch you lose? Oh man, I ain't have it. Like, dog, it smelled like a money grab. It seemed like a money grab. The only thing that really will make this fight competitive, honestly, is Tszyu, you know, is not a spring chicken. He been fighting, he been getting in rhythm, but he switched coaches again. Some Jeff Fitch guy didn't like the way Pedro Diaz was training, and you know, he dirty Mac pay. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this, and you should be like, okay, bro. You know, so the only real mystique about this fight is how Errol looked after three years off. You know, and we've seen terrible training footage after terrible training finish through those 3 years. You know, but that's, you know, everybody ain't training warriors. You know, and then we've seen, you know, Tszyu, you know, get mauled by Bakram Mazaliev. You know, most people feel like he came back too quick from the elbow injury. Then he got stopped quick versus Sebastian Fondor. So kind of in people's mind, kind of want to make it a kind of a, oh, Errol should be it. Errol was just never that good to me to begin with. I said that over and over again. But people, oh, you just hating on Errol because you don't like this guy. But nah, nigga, I showed the video proof on multiple times. He makes a lot of mistakes, and that's why they wanted him to squeeze down to 140 pounds. I mean, 147 pounds for 54. 54, he looked trash. Stiff, robotic. I mean, we could just go on and on and on about it, but he just seemed to be very dismissive and very condescending when it comes to fighting Tszyu. Like, I'm better than you. Like, and I don't see it. Honestly, I don't see it prime for prime. I think that's a 50-50 fight. I never thought Errol Spence was that good, dog. Make a lot of mistakes, bro. You know, but people will say I'm hating. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit the all notification, Christian Chinska notification. I just updated the Patreon on all tiers, so I appreciate y'all. Peace.
Why Tszyu?
It was out of the list of names. I mean, it was a lot of guys, but I wanted to go higher, but, you know, they was like, man, they were trying to, you know what I mean, take a tune up. And, you know, Tszyu came across and I was like, yeah, I'll fight Tszyu. And they wanted an American. I was like, I'll fight him in his hometown. I feel like I get more of that fighting him in his hometown. I feel like this is the time, and I feel like his style meshed great with mine. And I feel like it'll be a great fight. We both gonna put on the show. He's gonna make it as competitive as he can, but you know, I just think I have too much for him.
As Mike Tyson once said, when you get here, all your plans change. So that's what it is. We shall see. I respect what you've done in your career, but you haven't had a fight in 3 years. How can I say that this?
You want to spar today?
Let's go.
I'm not that on dead ass.
Yeah.
We can spar.
Yeah, let's go.
Come on.
I don't think y'all gonna get paid.
I ain't sure if I get paid. It's spar.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get paid. I think
Hey, we're not gonna get paid.
it's not to spar. You being a gentleman, extended your hand. You denied that hand. You didn't like it. Errol Spence, is that a sign of no respect or just the timing, the moment?
I respect him, but it's more about the timing and the moment. And we're gearing up for coming to his home country. He's looking to retire me, and I'm looking to take over in his country and disappoint him and his fans. So I just feel like, and I told him I'll shake his hand and give him a hug after the fight. But right now, it's about war. It's wartime. It's time to go.
Did you feel war before you got in there?
It's all right. That's if we're gonna play like that, that's all right. Like everyone's each to their own. I get how it is. I'm good. I'm sweet with that.
Is it war now or was it war before now? Is Tszyu ready for Errol Spence Jr.?
I think so. Why wouldn't it be?
Is Errol Spence Jr. ready for Tszyu?
We shall see.
He cap on that. He know better than that.
What's cap?
I was gonna see what that means.
Cap. You not telling the truth.
I'm bluffing. We shall see.
Nah, it ain't no we shall see. You know how it come.
I know you, mate. Of course. But I'm saying,
yeah.
when it comes to fight night, all the plan, as Mike Tyson once said, when you get here, all your plans change. So that's what it is. We shall see.
All right.
I'm not saying in a disrespectful way, am I? I'm saying in a respectful way.
I don't think so, but if
you
there
shall
was,
see is like he might be ready.
How am I supposed to know?
We should see.
How am I supposed to know?
Dismissive.
No. I respect what you've done in your career, but you haven't had a fight in 3 years.
where does this fight take place? Middle of the ring?
We shall see.
It's funny. Sometimes you see a guy on TV. You never see a guy before you fight him, before the weigh-in, before the press conference. Is this man everything you expected him to be? Physically, the way he's, the energy,
Easies.
everything you
His
expect.
shiny white teeth.
What about you and your shiny white teeth? Is this man everything you expected to see?
I'm looking forward to coming to Australia. Looking forward to fighting in front of your hometown fans. I'm looking forward to disappointing you and your fans back at home.
Good. Talk is cheap. Let my actions do the talking.
You shall see.
We shall see.